I miss good bagels. I feel like that's one of the hardest things about not being able to, like, safely interact with the public anymore.
Right.
Is I just want to be able to walk in somewhere and be like, can you throw a bagel at my face? Thank you.
Yeah, please and thank you. Just chuck it over. It's all good.
Because you can't really just get those, like, delivered. Because at that point, they're smooshed.
Yeah, it's a whole different vibe. Yeah. It's fucked up. One of the great things that you lose.
Yep, the only thing, some might say, over the past 3 years we've lost.
That's it, yep.
Is just bagels. Just cue the, like, fucking ASPCA track of,
my god.
For bagels.
Right,
you know?
We just do, like, a Sarah McLachlan ad for you of being like, please, for 19 cents a day, we can make sure that Allie gets bagels. The proper bagels. And it's important. And I think this is a noble cause that we should really be investing into. Sharks?
Please. I know that some of you are like, well, just make them. In this economy?
Yeah, first of all, in this economy, and second of all, even if you did, does not hit the same. And you know that. We know that.
It doesn't physically hit the same.
It's not the same as walking into a bagel shop and getting something just chucked at you and you pay, like, $3 or whatever, and they shoo you out of there because everyone's trying to get a bagel at the same time. There's a different energy and a taste. It's different.
It just hits different. Welcome to Into the Yearning.
Yes.
Where we ask you to please give us money on Patreon. That does, of course, obviously go to funding this show.
Right.
But I do like to pretend in this moment that it does go to our bagel fund.
Yeah, we're going to add a different tier. Like a stretch goal. Specifically for the bagel fund.
Please.
Thank you for your contributions, bagel czars.
Now I'm just going to be thinking about bagels this entire time. Yeah. And that's okay. That's my truth.
Yeah.
But for real, though, welcome to Into the Twilight. We are over the hill.
Yes.
Now, we are in a new era.
Hell yeah.
So to say, which is great.
We did it.
How are you? It's been a while.
It's been a while. I'm chilling. I wanted to bring a movie to the space because it's been a minute. I want to talk about a movie called Moonshot.
Ooh.
Which is a very cute, like, rom-com set in, like, the near distant future of, like, people really wanting to, like, go to Mars. Like, that's kind of the conceit here. It has our dear friend of the pod, Cole Sprouse. In it. And also Lana Condor, who we love from To All the Boys I've Loved Before.
Is this on Netflix? Is that why?
So here's the thing. That's what's fucked up about it, because this movie's very cute. It's very good. It's very, like, you can imagine, like, Tumblr gift sets of it. Like, it's actually, like, got really cool, like, production design going on. It's very, like, hokey, and, like, they kind of, like, the whole conceit is that, like, they sneak onto this spaceship. And it's kind of an enemies to lovers situation. It was on HBO Max. And then we have the little Discovery merger situation happening.
Oh, no.
And that was, for some reason, one of the things they took off of it. And I'm very confused by that, because it just seems like, for why? Like...
Right.
It just feels like a very cheesy, cute little thing.
Did they move it to Discovery Plus because it's, like, for women?
I don't know.
For the people who lean in?
So currently, the way you can watch it is, like, renting it or buying it, or... if you're like us, we watched it on a plane because for some reason it's still on planes. so that was
in the atmosphere it's legal. Got it.
Right? Yeah. In the that they are in air law. I guess it's fine. It's not breaking any contracts or anything. But it's very cute. I was genuinely charmed and surprised by it. Cole Sprouse and Lana Condor have very cute enemies to lovers chemistry here, and that's always a good vibe. And it's, like, very cute little sci-fi situation, little fun romance, little fun.
I feel like Cole Sprouse makes sense in a sci-fi situation.
Yeah, for sure. Also, like, Cameron Esposito is in it for, like, a hot second, which is great. Also, there is a Zach Braff jump scare, so just letting you
Jesus
know that.
Christ.
For you. Dive in.
Way to bury the lead there.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I feel like Lana, I always imagine, like, on a beach.
Right. Like, I feel like Lana...
Or in a high school.
Has a face to be on the ground. But
exactly. She's very earthbound.
Yes, completely. But yeah, it is very fun. It's fucked up that it's not on HBO anymore because they hate joy and love, I guess. But if you can find it, in however ways you want, I would recommend it. It's very cute. How are you doing, my friend?
Well, I'm okay.
Nice. Love to hear it.
I have something new, hot off the press.
Okay.
And relevant, which is not anything that I usually bring to the space.
Right.
For friends. My happy thing this week is a comedy special.
Ooh. Very fun.
Now, I don't know if your For You page on TikTok is like this, but I often get recommended comedy special snippets.
Sure, yeah.
Same. On my For You page.
Yeah.
And often it's bad crowd work that I see, and I say, no, I'm going to scroll past this. I saw what I didn't realize at the time was part of this special, and it wasn't out yet, which was the worst fucking part. Yeah. And it's called The Intruder, and it's from Otsko. And so I saw this, and it was from the HBO fucking TikTok account. Uh-huh. And I watched it, and it was one of the first times that I saw like an actual comedy stand-up thing on TikTok that I was like, I'm laughing.
Right. This actually looks good.
So I immediately went on HBO Max, and I was like, I need to pull up The Intruder. Like, show me this right now. Because it was like, it's out right now. And I was like, yes, great. And it was, when I saw it, it was out the next fucking day. Ugh. And I was like, God damn it.
It's so painful.
So I watched it last night. Like, I watched the finale of Vampire Academy, and then I ended my night with this comedy special. And it has been a minute since I have watched a comedy special. What drew me to Otsko is her, not only is she fucking hilarious, but she has she uses her body in her comedy. And I was like, that is great, and I appreciate it very much. So it's like an hour long. And I'd never heard of her before this, so I was like, sure, why the fuck not? I'll just put this on. And then I couldn't stop laughing throughout it. So if you need something to laugh about, because who the fuck doesn't right now?
Yeah, I mean, we all need a little laugh.
It just was one of those things where, like, it's so rare to be influenced by a comedy set on TikTok and it work. And I was just giggling the whole goddamn time.
Hell yeah. I am always into a comedy special. I do agree that, like, I feel like TikTok stand-up stuff is always kind of like crowd work or like weird, things are just like that hit the algorithm really well, but it's like, yeah, I want that good, and this looks really good.
It's so cringe sometimes too, because I do want to support comedians, especially ones that are like very much up and coming. Like, yeah, Otsko's not new. You have a comedy special on HBO. A lot of the people that I see are like local people, right?
Yeah, totally.
But they are only showing stuff of crowd work, and I'm like, I have secondhand embarrassment right now. I want to
stressed for everyone involved.
And this snippet that I saw was not crowd work, and it was talking about this moment that I think is like halfway through the set, when she's talking about how white people, she's saying that like white people are devolving because they keep getting allergies to shit like gluten
yeah,
and like dairy and stuff, and it's like every new thing.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I love is in comedy, especially, is like when a comedian breaks. I think it's so fucking funny because I know, especially something like this, like they have practiced this so many times, right? They know it in their sleep.
Yeah.
And to get to a point, whether it's true or not, where you break in the middle of it, and she had to like turn her back to the audience because she's like, she's performing this in Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. She's like, this crowd is all white people.
Right.
And she had to like turn her back and was like, no, everyone shut up. Here's my thing. And it was just seeing that, I was like, all right, I have to check this out. Like, this is hilarious.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So, I highly recommend it. It's been a while since I've seen a comedy stand-up set, because I do like them. And that is my pitch to HBO further. Please pay us, because all we talk about is your stuff.
Yeah, so come on. Let's make something happen. Baby.
Money, please.
Money. Money, please.
We have some news. We have some current events news. I think it's important for us to talk about the big elephant in the room.
The big news.
The big bong in the room.
The big bong in the room. Yeah.
Could you do us the honor?
We, first of all, whoever at this studio decided to leak this or release this right after we recorded last week, you're dead to me. I hate you.
Why the fuck do people never let us know?
I just like want to be just a little heads up. I think is fair, is reasonable, but it's fine.
We are a direct, like an IV to the audience that you are trying to reach.
Yes.
Give us a fucking heads up, please.
That's all. Okay.
You're dead to me. I'm so mad.
Anyways, we got a teaser for Mickey 17, which is something we've been talking about every so often. It's the Bong Joon-ho movie with our boy Robert Pattinson, also Mark Ruffalo, Steven Yeun, a bunch of big
Toni
hitters. Collette, yes, Naomi Ackie. We got a lot of good things going on here. Very excited.
Just the fucking Avengers of people who want to make you traumatized in a movie.
Exactly. And so you finally get this little teaser trailer, and it's not a lot. As
definition of teaser, I would say.
Yes, very much a teaser. I almost just said Robert. It's like in this, like seems like a cryogenic chamber situation, and it's just like this camera's like rotating around and going closer, and that's kind of it. It's like 30 seconds to a minute of that. Very sexy, very good vibes, very interesting, but we don't obviously learn anything, and nobody has really said anything about what this is, besides that it's based on this book, and it's space future stuff.
If there's one thing that we know about Robert, he does love a space movie.
Yes, he does. Especially a freaky one, it seems.
Yes, and this does seem... Every indication that we have received so far is that this isn't just a space movie, it's like freaky space.
Yes, right.
And that's in italics, if that wasn't clear.
Yeah.
I... Just seeing the, like... forehead veins alone.
Yeah.
You have my attention.
I am checked in.
I'm enraptured. All of the like metal and specifically the like neon greenish light. Mm-hmm. Bong Joon-ho was like, I'm gonna get a fucking Oscar.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah. And I respect it.
I love the energy from this.
We love to see it. I am very excited.
We will provide more updates when we know more.
Right. Because it's not coming out until March 2024. So if we are still alive by then.
Yeah, if we're not underwater,
right. Yeah.
we will let you know.
Yeah.
More information from beautiful people.
Ooh, yes.
Andra Day Kim, who you might know as Christian Ozera in the Vampire Academy
we love to see
universe, was interviewed for Hello magazine.
Sure.
And this was published, I'm going to say, this was published a minute ago. Saved this. because we weren't there yet.
Right.
This was published in late October because it talks about the end of season 1, and we just weren't there yet.
Right. Didn't want to get spoiled, okay?
No. I think it's important for you all to know, if you somehow have been listening to this and you haven't watched Vampire Academy, first of all, I mean, bless your heart, but like, what are you doing?
Right.
Second of all, Andre Day Kim is beautiful.
Yes.
And if they do not put him in high-waisted pants for forever, I'm going to be mad.
Yeah, that'll be a disservice to the fits.
It's just his whole...
His ethos.
Whole body type.
Yeah.
Because he looks so beautiful.
Yeah, he is stunning.
And most of the time when we see him in Vampire Academy, he's like in all black. He's like in hoodies. Right. We don't get to see his figure, which makes sense in the show. But give that boy some structured shoulders. It just makes me mad. Anyways, the reason why we pulled this article is because everything that we've seen about season 2 has been very,
right.
Maybe.
Who can say? Wink, wink.
And I think that that's very fucked up.
Right. It's like, just fucking say it. Okay? Because every little, like, aggregate news place, it's like, is it gonna be renewed? It's always like, we don't know, but we think so. And it's like, fucking just don't say anything. Okay?
So many things have published stuff, and it's like, here's what we know about Vampire Academy Season 2. And it's this listicle, and it's fucking nothing. There's nothing in it. It's just photos. All we know right now is that it's not been canceled.
Yes.
And that's it. We don't know that it's been renewed. But here's what I'll say after watching this last night. I need more.
Yeah.
So, let someone speak, please, and thank you.
Yeah.
I low-key also wonder if they're unsure because of the, like, looming writer strike, but...
Right, that could also for sure be part of it.
That could also...
yeah.
Who's to say? You know? Who's to say? Okay. So, when we last left off, everything was bad in the Vampire Academy world. It started off with Sonia in the box. Then everything got bad. I remember Tatiana pulled a Uno reverse card.
Yeah.
And kind of fucked up everyone's day. And then was like, ooh, actually, I've had Andre this whole time. So, how about that?
So, just think about that.
So, how about that? Also, Dimitri's in a dungeon.
Yeah.
And Rose and Mason are driving away. And Lissa is with the queen. Everyone is separated. That's important to know.
Yeah. They're all in different spots here, which is not helpful.
What was your opinion going into this episode? Like, what were you expecting? And then how did you feel at the end?
Dude, this episode is wild. I was certainly not expecting a lot of the twists and turns that were going on here, especially closer to the end. Yeah, I don't know, because I think we were theorizing and stuff of, like, when the Mason stuff would happen, or if they don't do that and do it for Dimitri instead. Like, that was like kind of like the mind frame I was in for this, but I was like, Dimitri's in his little cell prison, like, you know, what's going to happen with that, or is that going to be, like, taking away from what big fight could happen?
I felt fairly confident going into this episode that I knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
With the expectation that, like, the showrunners have been playing with the content here.
Yeah.
But it felt very clear over these last 9 episodes that they were taking a lot of Rose's storyline and giving it to Christian.
Yes.
They were taking Mason's content. They'd given some of that to Mikhail, and then they were going to give the rest of that to Dimitri early on.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, so by the end of this, like, the queen's gonna die. Tatiana's gonna take over. Dimitri's gonna die. We haven't had enough time for that, so I'm gonna be pissed about it.
Yeah.
And the attack, TM, on the school is gonna happen.
Right.
So I don't know how all of that is gonna work, but like that's probably what's gonna happen. Mm-hmm. By the end of this, I was like, what? So that sort of happened.
Right.
But no.
Right.
And I will say to the showrunners, they got me in the first half of this episode.
Yeah.
Because by the first half of this episode, I almost turned off this episode. Because even though I knew I was going into this with the expectation that Dimitri was going to die and I was going to be pissed about it.
Right.
Because he wasn't going to die. I was like, he's going to turn into a Strigoi. That's kind of what they've been talking about, right? Mm-hmm. When it happened, I was very mad about it. I was not prepared to actually see it happen on screen.
Yeah, it's so brutal. Like, because, like, reading it is painful, but watching, you can't, like...
Reading it, to all credit to Ferrero Rocher, reading it feels very visual. We've talked about this many times, like, she's a very great choreo fight writer. Mm-hmm. Seeing that fucking come to screen, because they don't actually do... So, they take the mountainside caves that were in the book.
Yes. Yeah.
And they are like, well, this St. Vladimir's Academy isn't on a mountainside. It's on a hill. So we can't do that. Let's just have this like secret tunnel that the alchemists have kind of fucked in. And that Meredith knows about. Wink, wink.
Also, I love that she's like, listen, Christian's really into books, but I'm really into maps, okay? It's not weird.
No, I just have a special interest.
I just, like, love maps. Like, it's fine.
But I do love the fact that they were being pretty overt that, like, she knows about alchemists, which is, like, interesting. It made me wonder if they are trying to make Mare be... Fuck, what was her name in the book 4?
Oh.
The French fry girl. I want to say it was like Brittany or Stephanie. It was like something really basic. But that would be wild if she was like an alchemist and a guardian. Maybe she has like alchemist family or something.
Right. It's like, my stepfather is an alchemist. It's like, it's in the family.
Yeah. Because remember Mason made that dig, was it last episode, that was like, Meredith, why are you always sneaking off doing real fuck shit? Like,
right.
So that was interesting. So they were like, here's this tunnel. Nobody uses. And even like Dimitri and the other guardians didn't know about it. Like, it's like that.
Very underground. Yeah.
So it doesn't end up being as large of a fight as it was in the book.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Which is, I really wanted to see that because the larger choreo that they did in this episode was really good.
Yeah.
But it was so much more painful that it was just Rose and Dimitri. Mm-hmm. And the two of them. And this is like halfway, I feel like, in the episode.
Right.
Where it's just the two of them. And Mason, before they go, does that thing where he's like, it should be Dimitri.
Okay. That was very interesting because... They're like, oh, well, Rose is obviously like, who's coming with? You know, I'm going, obviously. And you can see that, like, Mason has, like, this little look on his face. But, like, you know he's not going to, like, be the one to, like, fight for it. Because he's a little bitch.
Yeah.
And he was just like, you know, instead of being like, you should take me. Or, like, I'll be with you. I'll protect you. And he's like, nah, I can't do that, actually. It's going to be... Dimitri's going to do a much better job with that, actually. So, y'all go ahead.
That moment, specifically, when he does the forehead kiss... I knew in my heart, I was like, so Mason's going to die this episode.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm not wrong, because they do pull a Jacob Black and Eclipse on him. I will talk about that in a minute. It's kind of fucked up that they did that, and then they didn't put it in a, like, works cited at the end of this, but...
Yeah, it's fucked up.
It's kind of fucked up. So, Rose and Dimitri do the thing that I fucking love, where they are fighting while fighting Strigoi.
Yeah, they're, like, having, like, relationship therapy while they're doing big stunts and kids.
And up to this point in the episode, there hadn't been a lot of, like, Rose or Dimitri in this episode.
Yeah.
And so as soon as, what I loved is, like, and by loved, I mean I was, like, weeping, is when Dimitri saw the alchemist symbols, he was like, Rose, look me in the fucking face. If you ever see one of these out in the human world with Mason, and I throw my computer at this point. And... he's like, you need to get out. Like, they think you're evil. Like, they will not hesitate to kill you.
Yeah.
And then there's, like, a beat. And then immediately Rose starts fighting with him. And is like, why didn't you tell me you were going to the dungeon? And he's like, why didn't you tell me you were leaving?
I hate it.
And
I hate it so much.
What I love about this moment, too, that felt so much like the book, is... Rose is like, you think you know me so well. She's like ready to yell at him. And she, in that moment, doubles over from her like Strigoi spidey sense.
Yeah.
And he does know her that well because he's like, yes, let's go. Let's fight. I hate these two so much.
So fucked up. So fucked up.
It's so fucked up that they are fighting about, like, what's my favorite food when they are trying to literally kill Strigoi.
Yeah, they're so annoying. I hate them.
I hate them so much, and I would die for them.
Later on in the episode, too, where they're, like, having that, like, very profound goodbye kind of thing, where they're, like, basking in the sun, and it looks so picturesque and beautiful. And they're talking about their thing and their relationship or whatever, and Rose is like, you are everything I never wanted to fall in love with. I had to take a lap. I had to KO. I'm out. Nope. Mm-mm.
It is.
How dare you?
That is everything to me.
Yeah.
And for her to admit that, because, like, what happened right before Dimitri almost got, which is these fucking showrunners, I swear to God.
Yeah.
He was like, he said he loved Rose, but he did it in his very Dimitri way of, like, he doesn't directly say, like, Rose, I love you. Yeah. He was like, this is the thing that I love about you. Yeah. And then this Strigoi comes in and fucking bites his neck. Now, what is different than in the books is apparently it's just a bite.
Yeah.
They didn't do the, like, ritual.
Yeah, like the whole razzle dazzle.
Yeah, they didn't. Maybe they didn't take enough blood or whatever to make that be a whole thing. Right. But we see him later on, and he's fine. He just has like a scar.
Yeah,
which is hot.
So it's great.
Yeah, and they end up being fine because Janine pops up out of fucking nowhere and is like, "I got you."
Yeah,
it's good.
Finally, if we all forgot about Janine, she's still here.
Because that was the thing about the actual, like, in the books, is Janine led that.
Right.
After the Strigoi attack on the school, when they go into the caves of where the Strigoi were hiding with the hostages.
Right.
She was like, yes, that is, I will lead this. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, to back up. Because, like, obviously this is... I couldn't not talk about the thing that made me so stressed out.
Yeah.
We do get all of the usual characters in this episode. Mm-hmm. Save Adrian, unfortunately.
Yeah, we get no Adrian. So fucked up.
But, like, it makes sense that he wouldn't be at the academy. Like,
right, yeah.
I get it.
He's partying. He's doing his
right,
hot guy shit.
He's somewhere else. He's vibing. He's fine. The way that this episode started off, was very, and I don't know who this dude is, but it's like, there's Alberto, who we know, we love. Mm-hmm. And then there's this other dude who was originally the guy who, like, sentenced Dimitri. Yes. I don't know that we've gotten a name for this man. But he's around a lot in this episode.
Yeah.
Anyway, so fuckwad, he starts off this episode, and he's like, hey, kids, this isn't a drill.
Yeah, this is serious.
I love that it shows us on their, like, fancy tech that it goes from, like, Knights and Strigoi attack and it flips to 0.
Yeah. It's like those, like, little calendars of, like, you know, these many days since, like, a tractor accident, and it's like, oh, shit.
Right.
I love, too, that they also have, like, a countdown clock of, like, hours until nighttime again. It's like, come on, guys. Like, this is a very fancy, like, school and technology. What's going on?
It does help keep track in this episode, though, because it counts down until sunrise, mm-hmm. which is kind of like the midpoint of this episode, and then it counts back down to sundown, which is kind of like the end of this episode. So
right.
I can imagine that it's helpful for their security team. I just think it's funny that, like, they use a massive screen to show this.
Yeah.
One thing that happened last episode, Alberta did get got.
Yeah.
And I was very worried that she died.
Right.
I don't think we find out by the end of this episode if she's alive or not. But one of the last things that she does is she opens up the dungeon. So Dimitri and then, I don't remember Mikhail's sister's name, but they both get out.
Right.
And it's very precious. And I thought it was very cute.
Yeah. An ally. Thank you, Alberta.
Yeah. Thank you, Alberta, for being wonderful. I want to know how you feel about Jesse in this episode.
Dude. Jesse's whole arc this time has been interesting. Like, he's just kind of like...
I agree.
Party boy, like, delinquent, like, trying to, like, you know, do his own thing and, like, not play by anyone's rules, right?
Right.
And so we see all these, like, conversations with him, and I am forgetting her name.
Have we gotten her name?
Maybe not. I don't know. But this woman.
It's the same woman that he keeps feeding off of. And she's not a feeder.
Right. Yes.
She's just like a Hampier.
Yeah. And so he's like... And at this point, too, when this attack... When they're, like, preparing and stuff, they're like, oh, the wards are broken. We got to get people out of here, whatever. They do such a fucked up... like, very royal thing of, like, okay, we have all these buses, but, like, we're just gonna make sure the royals get out, and we'll for sure come back.
It's like the Titanic.
Yeah, we'll for sure come back, don't you worry. Just kidding, we're not coming back. It's actually really scary and dangerous. You guys figure it out, right? Which is like, fuck you. And this whole time, like, Jesse's like, he's like, I got a whip, like, I can just go in and out wherever I want to. And also, I don't really care. Like, I'm just living my life and, like, having my personal feeder, essentially, who's not a feeder, and do my own shit. Like, I don't really care about these rules and you people, which is interesting.
Right. I was wondering what they wanted Jesse to be this season, because we don't... It's very much not the arc that we get in the book so far.
Right.
And I felt like up until... Because we get a couple of scenes with him just talking with that woman before they do eventually decide, like, oh yeah, I have a car. We should probably just, like, go.
Right.
And it... I finally was like, oh, okay. Got it. It's your car. And she's asking you about, like, the wounds that your dad has given you. Your dad's been kind of an asshole this whole time. Like, maybe that's what this is finally going to lead up to. He felt a bit more redeeming to me when he let Mia and Lissa in his car.
Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, you're not that much of a dick. Like, you at least will help these people who are stranded and, like, try to, like, stay alive and heal other people. Like, okay, homie move. Appreciate it.
Like, he's gonna say fuck off, but he's going to let you in the car, which is better character development for him.
Yeah.
The way that his dad died
Dude.
was very satisfying to me.
Yeah, and the fact that Jesse was like, yeah, whatever, bitch. Like, just like leaves him. Is very fun to watch. It's like, okay.
Because it's just, that dude, Lord Zeklos is an asshole who beats his kid.
Yep.
And only cares about status. So, like, fuck this dude. But having him be like, Lissa can stay. Everyone else needs to get out of this car. Right. And just being like, fuck, I don't know. No, I finally have a reason to, like, let you die. So,
yeah, so
bye.
I'm going to take that.
Right. Amazing. I love it so much. I was very sad. I didn't expect to, but I was very sad to see Queen Marina die.
Yeah. That was the way that
at
was
the start of this
done too. Because like at this point, it's like the queen is still, she did not leave with the rest of the people. She's like, they're coming for me anyway, so like I'm just gonna like ride this out or whatever. And Liz is also there with her. And it becomes apparent that the queen is also not feeling great in general because she's been poisoned. And this whole time, like, Lissa is obviously freaking out of being like, I can't be queen right now. Like, I'm not ready. This was like a good plan for us, but like it doesn't work if you die like today, you know? Like, I'm not ready for that. And is trying to like heal Tatiana, or not Tatiana, the queen. Is trying to heal her, but obviously it's not really working because it's not like a wound. It's not something that she can like stitch up or whatever.
Right.
Which is interesting. And so she's like, fuck. I don't know what to do. And the queen is like, you got to get out of here. Like, they're going to be coming here. I'm fine. I'm not, but like, I'm going to be okay. And it will be fine. Get out while you still can. And do what you got to do.
And you're, like, married. So
right, yes, and drops the bomb of, like, you are technically, as far as, like, this episode, too, is, like, I know we see a lot of these examples this season, but, like, this one was very fun of, like, how many random court rules are just, like, spoken things.
Yes.
Like, a lot of things that we'll get to later of, like, are things just like, oh, I told you you're this, so you're gonna be this, right? Or it's like...
Literally.
So it's like, okay, all of these rules are literally made up. Nothing is real. And this is all just like, whatever we say is fine. And I love that. I think they really leaned into that this episode, which I thought was funny. But this one, she was like, yeah, okay, you are married in the fact that you have this situation going on. You have given each other gifts. And this one, like, gift that Christian has...
What's the fucking, like... She's wearing this beautiful ball gown that we saw last episode.
Yeah.
And after she tries and fails to heal Queen Marina, she, like, stands up and is really stressed. Mm-hmm. And she just pulls this fucking book out of her dress. Out of nowhere.
Right. Like, where did you have that?
Like magic.
You don't have pockets. What's going on?
I know. It was beautiful. One thing I tried to justify is, like, she's the queen, right? So maybe whatever she says goes.
Right.
But I feel like that happens later with Irene. So I'm like, now wait a goddamn minute.
Exactly. It's like, so we're all just playing fake rules and just saying whatever we want. Which, hey, if it works, it works.
Right. And I guess, like, Irene is, like, the high priestess, right? So maybe that also works for her. But there was parts of this where I was like, okay.
Like, okay, we're just doing whatever we want now. Yeah. We can just do whatever.
Right. Earlier on at this episode, like, the same time when Lissa's finding out that Queen Marina is dying and is, like, trying to get out, she also takes, like, the feeder's cloak. So she looks like Little Red Riding Hood during this.
Yeah.
Rose and Mason were still driving out of town.
Yeah.
At this point. And Mason explains how he got his car, which I was genuinely curious about, so thank you for explaining that.
Yes, it was actually, it answered a lot of my questions.
And Mason had asked at some point, like, about the bond between Lissa and Rose. And Rose was like, yeah, like, she's feeling like something's up right now, but, I mean, isn't it always... And she can take care of herself now, right? And there's this pause.
Yeah.
And Mason's driving, but he kind of like stops for a minute and he looks at her. Rose is like, and Mason's like, well, funny you should ask.
I forgot to mention. Ugh.
And then it is presumed by this point, because the next time that we see them are in like the town square, that he tells her about Lissa and Dimitri.
Yeah.
And shit like that.
Could you imagine like watching that conversation in full though, of like Rose realizing and be like, you motherfucker, like you're not even like gonna tell, like, because you're so jealous of this dude, like you're gonna like not tell me that the only other person there that's there to protect Lissa is in jail currently in like a little holding cell. Like you're that upset about this, you're gonna put my best friend in danger like that. Like I would have loved to see her just like pop the fuck off of that, like, you idiot, you absolute fool.
I feel like I wanted to see it, but there's something really beautiful about having to infer it.
Yeah.
Something that I was very glad I saw was during that like Titanic moment at the beginning with these buses, we got to see Christian and Mia together.
Oh, yeah.
And they were both kind of being ushered onto the buses. And Christian goes to me and it's like, I'm not going anywhere. Like, I have to seal these wards.
Right. Like, I did this, essentially. Or my parents did this, so I gotta fix it.
And they both do the, like, parents suck moment, which I thought was so cute.
Yeah.
And he eventually, like, convinces Mia to stay.
Yeah.
And we see fucking Victor finds Mia
trying
and
to
is like,
stroll back
can you ever
in.
forgive me?
Get out of here, dude. I'm sick of you.
And Mia, my sweet angel, looks at him and is like, I'm not the one you should be asking. And then walks away.
Queen shit. Absolute.
Love my life.
Yes. We love to see it.
One thing I hadn't noticed, I hadn't connected in the first episode. Because we see Tatiana, like, early on in this episode doing her, like, evil monologue thing.
Right, yeah.
Which was helpful, honestly, because I forgot that she was the one having sex with Andre in the first episode.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was just like, what? I just saw ass and I, like, forgot.
Yeah, I blacked out.
What was happening. And something that Andre picks up on is what Tatiana says, where she's like, they can fight all they want. I won't be queen for long. And he's like, no, wait a second. What's your end game here?
Right.
And he also points out to her, like, you move like a Dhampir. What's that about?
Yeah.
That's weird.
What's going on?
Don't like that. That's very confusing. And it is odd to start thinking about, like, Tatiana, I love you. You're so scary. Why? What are you doing? What is going on? I was nervous during all of this, like, fighting. But thankfully, we do get to see Eddie.
My light, my love.
He does, unfortunately, end up hurt by the end of this episode, but he is alive, and he is okay.
So, status report, we're all good. It's all clear.
Status report is that he is still beautiful and amazing and great.
Yeah.
I am very interested in wondering, like, how you felt about when Tatiana stood in front of the doors to, like, stop the Guardians before going into the council room.
She has such a thing going. I'm like very, because like this whole time too, we're seeing like her and Andre, right? Of like having this like back and forth. Yeah. And Andre's like still like trapped in this like weird torture device in this room or whatever. And like having this whole backstory of like, you know, he's been down there essentially the whole time and like feeding, you know, advice and like all these like historical rules and stuff of like how to do this, right? and has kind of been shepherding this queen takeover this whole time, which is very fascinating. But that moment of just like, it's like so...
It is, she's so evil.
Yeah.
And I am obsessed with it.
Yeah.
I'm also... So you mentioned this earlier on, but I wanted to know your thoughts about Christian becoming a monk.
Okay, obsessed with this, first of all.
Because this was... his conversation with Irene with the stake, I was like, yeah, sure, that made sense from his conversation about the wards. But the monk thing was a real twist I was not expecting.
Yeah, because, like, he's doing... I guess this whole time he's, like, reading all these, like, sacrilege texts, right? Of, like, what all the magic is that, like, people don't want to talk about, right? For, like, spirit and, like, all these other things. And he is trying to get information from Irene about how to make the wards work again. And he's like, I know about the stake. Like, I know it exists. Like, I just want to be able to help. Like, I think I know things that maybe you don't know if it's not working, and like we could rebuild this, right? And originally she's very hesitant, right? Because he's like, oh, so you're just gonna bring it back to your Strigoi mom? No thanks, buddy. Like, and he's like, no, for real, I actually want to help. Like, I'm not like, please. And he's like, hey, I think what you're missing, it's not blood of like a royal or like, you know, Saint Vladimir or whatever. Like, I think what he charmed it with in addition to the other elements is spirit, and I think I know how to like, we can do that. Like, we have someone here. We can make that happen. And just, like, trust me on this. And she's like, okay, I have this thing. But you can only hold it if you're a monk. And he's like, oh, word? How do you become a monk? And again, she's like, I say you're a monk, so you're a monk. And he's like, cool, for sure. Got it. And he just uses it. And, like, just takes it with him. And now, I guess, he's a monk. Go off, king.
Which, like... Love that for you, Christian. That's great.
Yeah.
How does High Priestess Irene not know about spirit?
Right. Like, I know everyone's very particular about, like, what is, you know, the gospel of this world, right? And, like, spirit is a thing that's, like, very taboo, and we don't talk about that, and it's not real, whatever. But, like, if you're, like, working with magic like that, you know... And, like, Saint Vladimir, that's his whole thing, you know, really. Like, I feel like that's something you should be not skeptical of, even though it's been, like, hundreds of years.
I just feel like she is supposed to be the one, right?
Out of
She's
anyone.
Supposed to be, like, the one who knows knowledge. And if you're telling me the High Priestess is not the one who knows how these stakes were formed, I call bullshit.
Yeah, I got questions, okay? I'm a little skeptical of how the leadership team here has been put together.
I agree. Also, new information that we got from that conversation. Irene had tea on the Ozera family, and Christian's father was sick.
Oh, yeah.
So, what we had known, at least from the books, was that, like, his family, I knew, had chosen to become Strigoi. What we didn't know was that it seems like his mom refused to live without him. And that's what happened there.
Yeah.
So, you know, it wasn't like, I don't know, maybe more ethical?
Right.
Whatevs. It's just interesting backstory that Christian didn't know.
Yeah.
I also, speaking of lore,
yes,
one of the critical things about the books, especially during the Strigoi attack, was that the church on campus is holy ground. Strigoi are not supposed to be able to go on holy ground. Right. Makes sense.
Checks out.
Seems like that makes sense, right? So, tell me why in this show, and again, I don't hate it, Victor, we see near the end of this, is in the church. He's struggling a bit. Right. He's lost all of his family. They're not all dead. They just are like, nah, fuck you. And Miss Sonia, the Strigoi, just walks into the church.
Just strolls on up. No big deal.
Doesn't burst into flames.
Right.
It doesn't... so, interesting.
Because, like...
and then it's presumed he's bi.
Right. I think what they're trying to do is, like, oh, because the wards are broken, like, all bets are off kind of vibe. But, like, that's not how that works. Like, the wards are effectively in a way to make sure that everything is an untouchable holy ground. But, like, the actual holy grounds of, like, the church or anything are already fine. Like, they're already, like, not susceptible to Strigoi, right? Like, that's kind of the whole vibe. So, like, it doesn't really work when you're like, oopsie, you know? It's like that, what is the point?
Right.
What?
I agree. There are, like, two critical moments, I guess, that happen near the end of this. Mm-hmm. One is that Mia and Lissa don't actually leave with Jesse in the car. She's like, Mia, I'm sorry. I know that you asked for this favor, but I can't do it. These are my people. Mm-hmm. And then Lissa, bless her heart, is using her spirit power on some of the people in the Dominion who have been hurt. Yeah. Because it's still daylight at this point. So it's safe for her to do so. Here's my problem with that. They don't know about spirit power.
No.
So she probably shouldn't be doing that because they will absolutely burn her on a stake. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. I do love
At this point, Mia's foot also earlier in the episode got hurt really bad.
Yeah.
But Mia won't let her use spirit on that.
Yeah, I think too, like, when they're actually at this big fight to, like, we have the stake, we're gonna, like figure out Lissa's here, we're gonna, like, charge that baby up and hopefully it works. But because she was, like, doing her, you know, religious moment of, like, helping everyone in this, you know, like, essentially a refugee camp for all the people that couldn't get out of the place.
Yeah.
She's like, I actually am all juiced out, my guy. Like, I don't...
Right.
Ooh, you should have come to me a little bit earlier with this, because, I don't got anything.
And that's the thing, right? So, like, Mia asks, ma'am, what about the darkness? Like, right. You were using your powers a lot. This is gonna be fucked up. And she's like, no, it's fine. Like, it's all good.
I'm Gucci. We're good.
And then the worst possible thing happens. So, I think 2 episodes ago or something, we saw that when Lissa gets her powers, like, pretty tapped, she starts seeing Andre in spirit.
Right.
Because that's, you know, you see ghosts. That's what happens. Rose in the book sees it too. And so she says, real Andre walks up.
Yeah.
Real Andre. Lissa is like, oh, I should have known, like, all this healing would have been a visit for you. She thinks it's ghost Andre. Mia says, hello? Andre?
It's so funny because she's like, she looks at Lissa and it's like, how are you not freaking out about this? What? It's like, that's for real Andre. And this is like, wait a minute. Like, fully realizes what's going on.
It's so fucked up.
Yeah.
Lissa hugs him. And then we start to see some of the, like, plan all along of what Tatiana's, like, plan was. Because Andre had, like, escaped. He was not supposed to be out in a boot. But Christian's mom comes out of nowhere and bites him.
So fucked up.
And at this point, I thought it was fairly obvious. Apparently the epilogue of this didn't think so. But I thought it was fairly obvious that they were turning him into a Strigoi.
Yeah.
So, since we didn't get Dimitri earlier in the episode, I was like, oh, okay, so it's Andre.
Yeah,
cool,
it's
got it.
Be Andre. Yeah.
I thought the Bond babe link in this moment, beautiful.
Yeah.
Great.
The way they did that was so hurtful. Like,
it was painful, like, but it was great.
It was very good, and, like, Rose seeing it through Lissa's eyes. Ugh, it's fucked up.
Oh my god. So, Lissa's now tapped out, and also so many people have now died.
Yes.
Not great. And the gang is all here at these wards.
Yeah.
The sun is, like, right about to go down. Christian comes up to Lissa and is like, hey, babe, I need you to touch this stake and do woo-woo to it.
Yeah.
And Lissa's like, I cannot tell you how tired I am.
Right. I am exhausted, Christian. How dare you come to me with a request like this?
But then, so it doesn't work. But then the Bond babes do it together.
It was
and I cried.
So cute. They just like hold it together and it works. And it does the thing.
And it works. It's the power of love.
I cry.
But then Lissa absolutely is gone. Like she just goes unconscious, which is not great.
No.
So Dimitri is like, I'm going to take Lissa. We're going to go get her out of here because she cannot be of help to anyone.
Mm-hmm. And the way
the fight choreography
he's like, I'm going to take her, whatever. And like, Rose like, thank God. Okay. We're going to, I'm going to cover Christian and like, we're going to kill these motherfuckers. We're going to do this. And like, Dimitri's like holding Lissa and like keeps looking back at Rose.
I was so mad at this. I was like, you need to run. Why, sir?
Like, it's a very tender moment, but also get the fuck out of here. Like, Rose is fine. Stop.
The whole thing, homie, your whole thing is like, don't hesitate.
Yeah, stop hesitating. My guy.
So the fight choreography is great. Christian refuses to set stuff on fire because he's like trying to focus on the wards.
Yeah.
Thankfully, Mia does go Squirtle.
She does
which
go
is
Squirtle.
Great. It was scary and beautiful.
Yeah. And
I loved it. The unfortunate moment, because this really is like the fight in Eclipse.
Right.
The Christian does get the wards, great, good. But Mason, they do a Jacob Black on.
Yeah, they do.
They throw this motherfucker into a tree. And he goes flat Stanley. Right? Spine gone. It's gone.
He's out.
And they make Rose choose. Because of course she has to choose. Like, but there's no choice. Because of course she would choose Lissa.
Right. Always. Every time.
And so they have to like carry Mason. So it's like Eddie and Mayor and some other people carry Mason's body to some hopeful infirmary that's still there. Mm-hmm. And Rose has to go find Lissa and Dimitri. All the while, fucking Tatiana is in the Queen's garb.
This power move is so delicious. So incredible. Because every week we're like, what could Tatiana possibly do next? Like, certainly we've reached the limit of how buck wild this woman can be. And turns out every time we are incorrect. Because this Tatiana rolls up and it's like, you need a real leader.
Gather the press.
Yeah, you need a real leader. Like, I'm here for you and I'm doing this. And she says, like, I do this for love.
For love.
Which is beautiful, gorgeous, stunning delivery. And then she goes, we need to look for Vasilisa Dragomir because she is a person of interest in the murder of the Queen. And I had to lay down. Her mind, her beautiful, scary, scary mind.
She's so smart. Mm-hmm. I'm terrified of her.
Yeah.
Oh no. She's so scary. How did you feel about the whiplash from that to Mare and Mia?
Oh my gosh.
It was so cuddly.
I want them to be happy forever. It was very sweet and soft, and they're finally back on their bullshit, which I appreciate.
I do appreciate it as well. So Mason's not dead, at least as far as we know.
Right.
He's in surgery.
Yeah, he's in a really bad spot, but he is alive.
And Mia does... She has the audacity to look at Mare and say, stay. And I folded.
Yeah.
Folded. It's so soft and precious.
I love them so much.
So the last, like, minute of this show, this finale.
Yeah.
Lissa wakes up and is in new clothes and is like, hello?
Yeah, what happened? Where's my fancy dress?
We find out that Christian's aunt, who I was hoping would show up in the show, is dead. So, whoops. Apparently that's not going to happen. Christian can't follow Rose and Lissa when they get out of the Dominion because now he's head of the family. So, yeah. Oh, and also he's a monk, so that probably means something.
Yeah, there's some rules about that.
Lissa gets to drop the bomb on him that they're married.
Which, very cute.
And there's something that's really cute because they're like, Lissa's like, wait, are monks allowed to kiss?
Right, is that allowed? Am I going to get monk arrested?
I don't know. So, that's cute. The moment that you mentioned at the beginning, where it's like super bright out, Rose is in this gorgeous cream getup.
Yeah. And
they have to say goodbye for like, what, the 7th time now? Yeah. We do it every episode.
Like, for real this time, for sure.
But like, for real. And Dimitri is like, I'll go. Right. Let me go. And she's like, you would be a different person.
Yeah. And he was like, a person you'd like better. And she's like, no. And I screamed. They're so
I hate
cute.
them.
And
they both piss me off so much.
Yeah. It's fucked up.
So Rose and Lissa are going away. Yeah. So the show ends kind of like where the book starts off, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Janine is there to say goodbye, which is odd, but I kind of loved it. And she hands Rose this card and is like, if you're in trouble, just call this. Yeah. And I was like, oh, dope. It's going to be her dad. But then she just says that. She's just like, it's your dad. So we don't really get the whole like discovery that Rose had.
Yeah.
And then the epilogue is that Andre is a Strigoi. Like, I fucking thought it wasn't a surprise.
Yeah.
So I feel like we have some things that do need to be tied up here. And I would like more content, please and thank you.
Yeah. So we are officially rallying for the season 2. Because I need it. I want to see what beautiful, terrifying mind games Tatiana's going to pull next. And we can't do that.
Oh my god,
we can't have that if we don't have more of this. So, let's do it.
I want more Adrian.
Yes.
I can't believe I was going to say that.
I know. Plot twist of the century.
And I feel like there's so much of the books that we haven't gotten yet.
Yeah, for sure.
So I need more, please and thank you.
Please, God.
Give me more Eddie. Give me more Mare.
Yes.
Give me more Mia, please and thank you. We, next week, start Spiritbound, which is the 5th book. And I am curious, as we continue with these, what similarities we notice in the show. But we have some amazing patrons to thank. Would you like to start us off?
Absolutely. Thank you to Katie Black.
Ooh, thank you to Kylie Minty.
Ooh, thank you to Alex Dornan.
Ooh, thank you to Mulch Gray.
Mulch. Thank you to Jasmine Anastasia.
Ooh. Thank you to Megan Pattinson.
Pew, pew, pew. Thank you to Cassandra O'Shea.
O'Shea. Thank you to Katya Karp.
Ow. Thank you to Hope Castile.
Ooh. Thank you to Rachel Ashford.
Ow, ow. Thank you to Vivian Yulee.
Ooh. Thank you to Maddie Facinelli.
Pew, pew, pew. Thank you to Samara Rinaldi.
Ooh. Thank you to Genevieve Morgan.
Ow. Thank you to Danielle Burke.
Ooh. Thank you to my mom, your mom, our mom, Kelly Beck.
Mom. Thank you to Sophia Salinger.
Ooh. Thank you to Lara Forty.
Oh, ow. Thank you to Dan Zeklos.
Ooh. Thank you to Maria Swan.
Ow, ow. Thank you to India Peach.
Ooh. Thank you to Emily Ozera.
Ow, ow. Thank you to Jaylene Ivishkov.
Ooh. And last but certainly not least, thank you to Ashlyn Vogel.
Ooh. Pew, 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 pew.
I have a fanfiction for you by the author Saturn_Neptune.
Okay.
It is titled Take on the World.
All right.
The summary is, what if Andre wasn't turned Strigoi and everybody got a happy ending? Here's my version of Season 1, Episode 10. This doesn't have chapters, so I'm just going for it.
Great.
The ghost shouldn't be able to make sounds, but she swore she heard steps. She was going to count to 3, and when she'd open her eyes, they would be gone. 1, 2, 3. Rose opened her eyes and flinched. The streets were empty except for one person, Dimitri. Her heart skipped a beat. Was he a ghost too? No, he couldn't be dead. They ran to each other, but Rose didn't stop, not until she had her arms wrapped tightly around him. She needed to feel him. Oh, Rose. His relieved voice as his arms came around her were enough to prove he was real, alive. Surely Rose broke her record of hugs today, but this one beat them all. In spite of her bruises, the bone-crushing hug didn't hurt, but it gave her such a sense of safety that she could finally let her guard down. She loosened her hold of him, not to pull away, but to slump against him. Dimitri loosened his grip too. The hand pressing her head moved to stroke her hair as the other one gently rubbed her back. They stayed like that for a while. Rose knew she could fall asleep right there and she would be safe, but she'd rather not, so she pulled away. Dimitri's eyes scanned her body, growing concerned. Are you hurt? It took her a second to remember her clothes were stained with blood. It was more visible without the Guardian black uniform, which had its perks, after all. I'm fine. It's not my blood. My clothes are ruined, though. We can take care of that. Let's get you home. That sounded good, but she had other concerns, too. Wait, shouldn't you be with Lissa? Don't worry. She's well guarded. Still, there must be plenty of Moroi who could use your protection. And suddenly you care about them? You do, Rose pointed out. I care more about you. Tonight, I'm your guardian. His words warmed her heart, and she smiled, placing her arms on his shoulders. I guess I'm in your hands then. His lips curled in a sly smile. I should warn you, though. I'm a fugitive, convicted for treason. That makes it hotter, she whispered. End scene.
Why can't anyone?
They're just on the run.
Why can't anyone in the show be happy ever?
It will actually never do that to us, which is unfortunate, but also I'm okay with it right now.
Yeah.
I will miss this show, and I want it to come back soon.
Yes, please, God.
But for now, back to books. This is also a great time, friends, for you to tell folks about not just Vampire Academy, but also about this show, because that will give folks an easy transition. Also, go to the library, get your book.
Yes, we love the library here.
And start reading for next week.
Yeah. Back to Bookland.
Well,
I'm excited.
Back to Bookland. No more using an additional remote to access my television.
Right. Exactly.
Well, as we say here in the Pacific Northwest,
get bit.
And get whipped.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Into the Twilight is an Earbud Media production. You can follow us on Twitter at Into the Twilight or on TikTok at Into the Twilight Show. You can find me at Cody Corral on Twitter and Allie at Alexandria Does. And you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Into the Twilight. We have merch, so much stuff. All those links are in the episode description. And make sure to rate and review us on your favorite podcast hosting platform. It really helps the show. Thanks. Bye.
You've been listening to Earbud Media Production. Earbud Media, audio for everyone.